Normal is a word that we are used to hearing. It's a general preset expectation, and I used to associate it with something that I cannot achieve. Hence, I labeled myself as not normal, which I subconsciously interpret as something negative. I become afraid of using words that define me because of the negative associations that are set to them. Words such as different, a weakness, or even being dyslexic. Navigating a world where you're not considered the norm can be tricky. This means that there are a set of skills that you have to learn for yourself. So here are a few tips for navigating these expectations set by the norm. There are 3 fundamental skills that I believe if you can master, you can overcome any limitations that you may feel or have because of being dyslexic. These are confidence, knowing how to remove the barrier to entry, and learning how to help yourself. One of the biggest holdbacks from growing up with a learning difference is the lack of confidence in ourselves. This comes simply from being different and feeling like we are not meeting the expectations of the norm. So how do you break free from this? Chances are you have come a long way in life by working with your weaknesses because you felt like you had to do it in the same way as everyone else. Now imagine if you did it from a position of strength. Finding your strength and doing things your own way can go a long way. If you can find the confidence to not let external expectations distract you from doing the things your own way, emphasizing what you are good at, you will find that you will exceed expectations and people will appreciate what only you can offer. It will often be the case that it will take you longer, and at first you are going to feel like you are lagging behind. It is important to be realistic with your expectations. Don't pressure yourself by comparing to people who are working with a whole different skill set. Also, I have often found that by achieving something my own way, I will probably take longer, but I will also learn more along the way, and I will have built a stronger skill than the person who followed the expectation. If you have children with learning differences, teaching them how to navigate it can inspire confidence and enable them to look forward to a future in which they can understand their disability as well as their strengths. It is important to push them to achieve their best through a variety of venues and not constantly focus on the areas they are struggling with. Meet your child on their level, for example with reading, and celebrate the successes at that level. Be honest with yourself and your child about the progress while setting realistic goals for them. When I left school, my dyslexia report estimated I had a reading level of a 9-year-old, and since I have noticed I have become a lot more confident with my reading and I am a lot more fluid. So be patient. Because you are struggling with a skill, it shouldn't hold you back from learning or practicing any other skills. Learning how to remove the barrier to entry is really important. The biggest barrier to entry is often going to be reading, but this can apply to anything you are struggling with. There are many tools that can help you with this, such as listening to audiobooks, watching YouTube videos. If you have not practiced this, comprehension and retaining information can be tricky. I have found that using strategies such as writing bullet points for every paragraph I've read, making a mind map can be helpful, and it takes away the feeling of being overwhelmed by all of this information. Again, it is important to manage expectations. It's not about speed, it's about what you can get out of it. Removing the unrealistic expectation can remove the frustration and negative feeling or triggers linked to reading. And if you are like me and reading one book is an achievement, then celebrate that and build it up from there. Alternatively, there are apps out there today that can give you book summaries in audio form, which can give you an entryway to the information that you need and will give you as much value as a person who reads a book a week. Here are some ways that you can make sure your child doesn't miss out on cultivating these other important skills. Read to your child every single day. Hearing someone else read has the amazing possibility of sparking creativity and interest, and also offers a chance to work on comprehension without the battle of decoding the text. Don't pressure them to read faster. Instead, Give them strategies to help them with remembering what they read, such as writing down a sentence or two, or drawing a picture of what just happened on each page, or ask them to retell the story. This will also expose them to more words which are out of their reading range, but are not out of their comprehension range. Finally, learning to help yourself is the biggest advantage you can have. Learning to advocate for yourself is a tricky one. This means having an understanding of your weaknesses and your strengths, knowing how you work best, what helps you, and knowing how to communicate this and ask for help. Talking about dyslexia to people around us is often uncomfortable because we are used to people not understanding, and rather than get help, we're used to getting knocked down. So learning how to communicate and explain your learning difference is so important. If you teach your child how to cope and deal with their disability now, you're doing them an enormous favor. Teaching them to advocate for themselves and how to ask for help, how to understand their strengths and their weaknesses, the available resources, and how to ensure they receive the accommodation they need is only going to set them up for success. If you teach your children to do this at school, they're going to go into the world feeling confident. They'll know how they fit in and what they need to do to keep up. And that's worth more than being able to read a book a week. If you are sat there thinking, I wish my parents had taught me how to do this, it's not too late. You can do this. You can do this work for yourself. It will take time and a lot of self-reflection. But once you start using your weakness as your strength, you are going to go far and fast. If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to watch my video about how to break beliefs, and this will help you tremendously in this process. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. What if we lived in a world where our strengths were the norm, and people who were not dyslexic were the ones who were struggling with their weaknesses? Everyone struggles, and everyone has things that they are not good at, but how many people have to focus on their weaknesses every waking moment? All we do is battle our weaknesses every single day. It is what is at the forefront of our minds. We constantly have to deal with the barrier of entry to that information even before we get to the learning part. Now go tell me, who is more likely to achieve greatness? The person who is always focused on their strengths because it is easy and did not work on their weaknesses, or the person who worked their entire life to overcome their weaknesses and are left with nothing but their strengths? On that note, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.